Interesting one. Go ahead and start the recording on my end real quick. Record on this computer. And still says preparing to live stream, but it says we're live. So I'm going to go ahead and trust that. All right. This is Male Entrepreneur Podcast, episode number 145. And we are live in 3, 2, All right, welcome back to the Male Entrepreneur Podcast, the podcast for men who win without having to cheat. Purdeep Sangha is our guest, our host for the show. How you doing today, man?
Okay, I don't even know how to respond to that one, man. You just lit this one up. This is awesome. I love when you do the intros, but you just totally caught me off guard. Yeah, cheat. Okay. Well, I guess we might as well get into the topic of today's podcast. Why men cheat? More specifically, why they cheat in their relationship.
Okay, so a different kind of cheating. You just sent me the show notes. I was like, well, we're the podcast for men who win. And maybe that. No, okay. I was totally off base.
Oh no, that was awesome, man. I'm gonna get a good laugh for a while. But yeah, I thought it was an important topic. It's because it's one that I talk about in the book. The new book that got released a couple weeks ago, The Complete Man. If you haven't gotten your copy, please do, because this is I'm hoping, and I've gotten some awesome feedback from guys, that it's a book that's really given them some major aha moments for how they're living their life and how to change some simple things that can actually have some real big positive results for them. One of the areas that I talk about is relationships. And the reason why I talk about this is because if I was to say, based on my personal experience, and I've worked with a lot of guys and have met a lot of guys over the years, 8 out of 10 guys are struggling in their relationship in some way, shape, or form. And we're talking about to the point where it's not like, hey, look, the normal everyday type of tiff or whatever. It's like either one person, and either the husband or the wife is contemplating, is this the right relationship for me, or has one foot out the door already. Mm-hmm. And so it's unfortunate. And I have a soft spot here, Nathan, because I believe that everybody should be in a passionate relationship, because it's one of the most fulfilling things in life when you have someone there to share your life with. And when you don't, life can be good, but do I believe it can be better when you're in a relationship? Absolutely. And I'm basing that on my personal experience, and I'm basing that on a lot of guys' personal experience, because I know when a guy in business, and I've seen this and I've coached men through this, is even if they have a killer business that's making millions of dollars, if their relationship is struggling at home, they are suffering inside. Mm-hmm. They're not feeling complete inside. They're feeling down and out in some way, shape, or form, because now they have all the money, they have all the other stuff, but they're not having that total fulfillment that they're looking for. But what ends up happening for a lot of these guys, and I don't recommend this, is they choose the alternate path. And whether they've tried to make the relationship better or not, they go down a path of finding someone else that can help make them feel better or fulfill a certain aspect that they're not getting in their relationship. So in essence, they're cheating, whether it's emotional cheating, physical cheating, or some other form of cheating, they're cheating. And that kind of sucks for everybody that's involved.
Yeah. So I have never cheated on a relationship, but I have deliberately sabotaged relationships so that I could go out and pursue something with somebody else. So I've been in that one foot in the door and one foot out the door. I think that I saw, and this is strictly an American statistic, I don't know if it translates throughout the world, but I saw something a few years ago talking about women actually admitted to or just flat out cheated more often than guys do. And you said we were going to talk about why men cheat. I was going to get your take on, and obviously maybe you don't know, but are some of these reasons that we're going to talk today, do they overlap? Is it so? If you're a guy that's been cheated on, might some of these be things that you might want to think about, as far as not to victim blame, but to say, hey, this might have led to that too?
Absolutely. So let's get into it, because we're talking about both guys and girls, and women do cheat. And I don't know the exact stats that we because we did a lot of research for this book. We actually had a team of researchers go and take a look at the latest stats in terms of the stuff that we were talking about. The females are getting close. I can't remember the exact number, but here's the difference: is that women feel more empowered now, whereas previously they didn't. And now it's become they feel more open to be able to cheat. Fundamentally, here's why people cheat, whether you're a man or a woman. It's because of this one thing: your needs are not being met.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you are one of those individuals that just has a condition like nymphomania, for example, or whatever it is, or, and I'm going to be straight up, you're just a dickhead and you don't appreciate your relationship or the person that you're with, and you don't respect it, and you're going out there. And I say that because, there are some guys out there, but for the majority of cases, these guys that do cheat, they're good guys. They have good values. Even the women, right? They're good people at heart. They're just not getting their needs met in their relationship. So rather than breaking the bond of the relationship, because that could mean, hey, being, looked at differently. If you're a divorcee, for example, that could mean losing your wealth. That could mean possibly having someone else raise your kids. All of these reasons for staying in the relationship, they find that point elsewhere. And I'm going to be very open and honest, and I share some of this information in the book, is that in my first relationship, I was cheated on. And I was cheated on for a good reason, because I wasn't the best boyfriend at that time. I wasn't the best partner at that time. And so when I came out of that and I understood that, it really gave me an eye opener to say, okay, how was I presenting myself in the relationship? Was I actually giving her what she needed? And I wasn't. And I realized that. And so I don't hold anything against her for going down that path. And so it was a big eye opener. So if we're possibly thinking thinking of cheating ourselves, or looking at our wives and saying, okay, would they be wanting to cheat or willing to cheat? We have to take a look at, okay, what needs are being met? That's why I use that one question in our relationship: what do you need from me today? And that's the one question I ask my wife, and my wife asks me as well, because it's that one thing that she might need. It might be a hug. It might just be, feeling like hers common one is, I just need love and affection. And so that's what I give her. And so, for me, it might be sex one day. It might be something else. I might say, hey, I need you to take care of the kids and just keep them off my back today, because I got a lot going on. That's my need from you. But when those needs are being met, that desire to cheat isn't as strong. But let's be realistic here too, Nathan, because as guys, one of the big reasons, it's not always the reason, that cheating happens is because of the sexual desire,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we are built to have sex, both men and women. And here's an interesting fact, is that women, when they're going through ovulation, they have their sex drive peaks as well. And they do have thoughts about screwing other men, because they're in that mode of being impregnated, which is really interesting when you think about that. So women have these thoughts, not that they're less likely to act out on these thoughts, and they're less frequent. But for guys, we're built to procreate. And so we are constantly looking and being attracted to women that we think are fertile, or that we think will pass on our genes. But that doesn't give us any reason, you can say legitimate reason to do that, because it hurts people when people cheat. I'm interested to go back to you, Nathan, because you said you purposefully, and this is the real crux of it, right? This is a real fundamental piece: is if you're in a relationship where you're not getting what you want, you have three options. You accept it and say, okay, this is how I'm going to live my life. You change it, right? You do your best to change it, or you get out of it. You have three options. But a lot of people choose to stay in it, and they end up cheating, or they get screwed over by living in a miserable relationship. You choose to sabotage, which is a way of getting out of it. So tell me about that. I want to hear more about that.
I think, and I feel maybe that this is just like a selfish part of me that I need to address. I won't cheat. I have slept with married women before, though, so I've helped women cheat. My mom got cheated on when I was a kid, and she got abused and was in bad relationships. And I can't bring myself to do that to someone else. But if I'm in a relationship with somebody and it's not fulfilling. And so in some of these things that you talked about in the book, I was like, man, that hits home for me. Like, I've been there. I know that this is exactly how I felt. Sometimes I'll just look for reasons to end the relationship, or sometimes a lot of times I think people look for reasons to fight so they can go out and cheat. I look for reasons to fight so I can just stop the relationship, so that I can be free to go out and pursue something with someone else. Um, I'm not sure that one is any less harmful, but I feel like cheating is a betrayal, and if you want to cheat on somebody, you should just not be with them. And maybe both of them hurt just as much, but I can't bring myself to do that to somebody. But I do have kind of a guilty conscience about. I know that I've hurt some of the women I've been with in the past, because I wasn't for completely I wasn't completely forthright with them. I didn't completely say, hey, the reason that I'm acting like this is because I want to go pursue something with someone else. But that, if I'm being honest with myself, that was why I would start some of the fights and start some of the conflict. And so I don't feel like it was any better than cheating, but it's still like, I can't bring myself to do that to somebody. But is one better than the other? I'm not exactly sure.
Well, I'm glad you opened up, because being in a unfulfilling relationship sucks, man. It's crappy. That feeling. I know that feeling because I've been in that situation myself. So, I feel for you. Look, good guys cheat. There's good. I know some really good friends of mine have cheated, and I've seen how it's changed their character. Though I see the guilt that they carry, and that kills me, to see how they've changed as a man now, because they know they've hurt somebody else. But we have to understand that we are all human. We have a need. We have a desire, the strong desires that need to be met as human beings, and we do need to meet them. There's no shame in saying I need sex, or there's no shame in saying, even as guys, that I need to feel desired, right? Because even as guys, we want our women to initiate the sex too. We want our women to dress up nicely for us. I talk to my wife about this all the time, and we have these conversations. I say, can you dress, sexy, and wear this or whatever that is, because I want to feel like you're contributing in this relationship just as much as I'm contributing. But I also want you to feel, or want to feel like you want me, right? And there's no shame in that, because guys think, yeah, you know what? We don't need that. We don't need to be wanted and stuff like, yeah, no. Every guy does. We have that deep desire inside. We want our women to want us just as much. Um, and honestly, too, Nathan, in my relationship with my wife, we've had our ups and downs. Like, we've had some major ups and downs over almost 10 years. It's been 9.5. And some of those years weren't so great. Some were great. And there were times where I openly shared, and I don't believe in cheating, because I just think that's just, it's not, it's not conducive to anybody. But I've said that in this relationship, in certain parts where I felt like I wanted to cheat, and I was actually open with her, and I said, "Hey, babe, like, at this point, I'm having desires for other women, and I need you to work with me here, because that's not the type of guy I am, and I'm not going to act out on them, but I'm seriously, having these desires." And there was a time where I'd be like, checking out chicks on Instagram, for example. And then once you check out one, the damn feed keeps feeding you more and more and more. And then you're just like, what the heck's happened to my feed? Like, it just turns you into that type of person. Because as men, let's be honest, man, if there's a nice, set of breasts in front of you, and they're put in your Instagram feed, it's tough to not see it.
Mhm.
And they know how to get you enticed. And we are built like this. This is something we cannot ignore. And I'm not saying this from a piggish perspective, but you put an attractive woman that's half naked in front of you, your hormones are going to kick in, and Instagram knows that. And these women know that too. Why do you think all these women are dressing half naked? Is because they can get a 500,000 followers easily by doing that. So
Mhm.
don't feel so guilty. Just know that you have to maybe stop looking at your feed and ban yourself for a little bit, because that's what I had to do. But in my conversations with my wife, I was very open, because I wanted her to understand where I was coming from. I wanted her to understand that I had these deep down desires and needs, and I wasn't doing it from a piggish perspective. I was doing it because this is my basic human need as a man. And I wanted her to know that I desired her. Like, my wife is a very attractive woman. And I'm not just saying it, she's actually gorgeous. And I look at her when she puts the effort in, I'm just like, bam, like, it's just, I don't want to say it on, but it's just like, my blood rushes. And so to not have that is such a feeling of, man, I feel like I'm being starved, literally.
Uh-huh.
I feel like someone's starving me. And I'm one of those guys, and a lot of guys are the same way. Is I would just need passion in the relationship. Like there's got to be this hard driven attraction and passion, not just sexually, but emotionally and mentally and spiritually as well. And if I don't have that, I search for it. Like my body just instantly is like, I need that. So I told my wife this, and I said, I need you to work with me because I'm having these desires from other women. Now, that didn't go so well because she still kind of reminds me every once in a while. Do you remember when you said this? And you remember when you liked that, what I made the mistake of accidentally liking one chick's pic, and I got to hear it for the rest of my life. Um, and that comes up every so often, but there's reasons why guys cheat. So let's get into that, Nathan, because I think that's important. Guys need to understand why they cheat, because there's this concept or perception that guys are pigs, right? And guys cheat because they're pigs and they can't keep their dick in their pants. That is not the reason why guys cheat. Guys cheat because they are not getting their needs fulfilled. So whether that's sexual, right? Guys have that need to be desired. So, if your woman isn't desiring you, then you need to figure out why. Maybe you're not being the guy that she needs you to be desired. Maybe you need to step up. I'll use an example. My wife, I'm a farm boy. I like to chill. I'm wearing a blazer and a shirt right now, but that's not typically how I dress. My wife is a fashion diva, like big time, and she likes suits, like full on suits, guys dressed up in suits. So I have to cater to that a little bit to meet her attraction level,
Mhm.
because I'm just a farm boy, t-shirt and jeans. That's me. But I'll have to dress up every once in a while because that's what she's attracted to. Right. So the same thing goes for you. If you need your wife to dress up a certain way, ask for it. Here's another one. Not being respected. Guys need to be respected in relationships. We need to feel like we're the man. And that's just the way it is, right? We want to be the man in a relationship. I've seen guys cheat because the women don't give them respect. They give their dad more respect than their husband, for example. I see that quite a bit. That's a challenge for a lot of guys because they want to be the man in their woman's relationship. They don't want any other man to be the man for her other than you. Being controlled, this is another one. No guy wants to be controlled, and so you're gonna go and find a woman that is gonna make you feel like you can be yourself, like she doesn't need to control you. Unfortunately, though, here's what ends up happening. I've seen this 10 times over and over again. If you cheat on your spouse and you with a woman that you end up having a relationship with, she will control you. Why? Because she knows that you cheated on your ex with her and you can cheat on her with somebody else.
And she's got that leverage over you.
Yeah, and good luck. That is never a win-win situation. And sometimes there's a lack of emotional connection, right? Guys, we want to be connected with our spouses emotionally. I want to kill that stereotype that we're stone cold. I want to kill it right now because we want to feel loved. We want to give love to our spouses. We want to feel that emotional connection. If you're not feeling it, you're going to try to look for it elsewhere. Appreciation is another one. We want to be appreciated because the guys I know, majority of the guys and the guys that I work with, and including you, Nathan, are guys that are stand-up guys that work your butts off for your families, right? You have a daughter that is not technically your daughter, Nathan, blood wise, but she is your daughter. You treat her like your daughter. You've raised her, your daughter. In all essence, she is your daughter, as you said, right? But you didn't have that obligation to be her father. You chose to be her father. And for that, I commend you. And a lot of guys out there are like that. But in some ways, you want to feel somewhat appreciated, not be like, given praise all the time, but you want to be at least appreciated to say you've put yourself on the line, your own needs to be there for other people, right? Especially your spouse. And most guys will do that. Most guys will give their life for their wife and kids.
Mhm.
And and here's one other thing is when you just lose the connection, right? And relationships, here's something that's really important. Relationships. And I was trying to sum it up because I was having this conversation with one of my clients, and I've been trying to figure out, okay, what is the best way to communicate this to people without it seeming too, how do I say, fuzzy for people, is that a relationship is a flow of energy. It's a flow of energy between a man and a woman. It's the flow of energy of mental, sexual, spiritual, masculine, and feminine energy. It's like a dance. It's a dance of energy. And when you cut that energy off for whatever reason that is, maybe it's resentment. That's probably the biggest reason. Cheating, whatever that is. Maybe you've just gone your separate ways. The kids, you've not paid attention to each other's needs, and kids have left. You empty nesters, whatever that might be, and it's just you and her, and the connection is no longer there. That's hard for a relationship. So that energy needs to come back in, and that energy starts with attraction. And so that these are all reasons why people do cheat. And I wanted to put that out there, Nathan, is because I want people to understand that if you have desires to cheat, it's not because you're a bad person. It's because there's underlying reasons.
I'm going to just speak for myself for a second. I know that when I'm in a relationship and we're having a lot of sex, I never even look at other girls, never even tempted to. So that one's a big one for me. But the other one is the appreciation. If I'm in a relationship and we're having lots of sex, but I don't feel appreciated, I don't feel like uh, recognized, or um, I don't feel like if it's just sex, but and there's
Mm,
no appreciation there, that doesn't work for me either. And I think that that one out of this whole list, the lack of appreciation is the number one thing that in the past, when I have sabotaged relationships, I think that more often than not, that's the one that was the breaking point, even if there was a good amount of sex in the relationship.
that is awesome. I want to know more about that if you don't mind me asking. What exactly did you want her or them to appreciate?
Just my presence and contribution to the relationships. If I'm not feeling like if I'm feeling like, yeah, we have a healthy sex life, but you or I could both have that with anybody else. And I don't feel like me as an individual, you appreciate who I am. Or I guess the other thing is being an entrepreneur is kind of a risky venture. And not all women appreciate that in a man. A lot of women are like, I want stability. I want somebody who gets the 9 to 5 paycheck. And I'm like, look, that's not me. And if you can't appreciate me for who I am, the sex is great, but I just can't do this.
Wow, I think that last sentence that you just said, appreciate me for who I am. Man, that is so profound for a lot of guys. I hope you're out there listening to this because I think we all have this need to be appreciated for who we are. I couldn't have said it better, man, because you're right. And again, it's about killing those stereotypes because we talk about it, and these are the things that guys think about, but they don't openly say. So if you're feeling not appreciated for who you are, you're not the only guy. I've gone through it. Obviously, Nathan has gone through it. There's other guys that have gone through it. So Nathan, in your situation, then, we can close with this. What's your thought? What's your recommendation for guys that do not feel like they're being appreciated?
If I have to be completely honest, it's give what you want. If you're in a relationship and you're not feeling appreciated, double check and make sure that you're making the other person feel appreciated, because I can also
Mm,
look back at those situations and say, yeah, maybe I didn't do what I could have done to make her feel appreciated either. So, my kind of go-to in life is when I get frustrated with somebody doing something, I check and make sure I'm not guilty of the same thing. And more often than not, I am. And that's probably why it's frustrating me in the first place. So look in the mirror.
mm. Wow, man, that is awesome. I love it. I think we can close out with that. I just want to leave one quick example here, just on that note, what you just talked about. And I like to test things out in my relationship. I kind of use it as an experiment, which isn't always fair to my wife, but I tell her openly. Is that we got this new, I got her new coffee maker for her birthday and stuff, but I've been on this habit now. She gets up at 4 in the morning, so I get up extremely early with her. um, and I make her coffee. I make her little special coffee with latte and stuff like that. And man, just that little gesture has uh, gotten her to show more appreciation for me.
Mhm.
And going back to what you said, looking at what you do to get the appreciation is important. So I think little things like that can have a massive difference. That's what I would say to you, is take a look at those little things that matter in your relationship and do them, because that can help with the appreciation.
Absolutely. Pretty, before we're out of here, if people enjoyed this conversation and they want to get more, where's the best place to go?
You can go to cheater.com. No, actually, I don't even know if that exists. That probably
I'm
does,
sure it
actually.
does.
Or what was the other one where they had that big bust? Where that big exposure to privacy.
Oh gosh. It was one of those dating websites.
Yeah, that big one. It's the one specifically for cheating,
Yeah.
right?
It
Yeah,
was,
affairs.
it was made by some woman that wanted to help people cheat. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, it was a massive one. It's like that
We're not gonna plug that website.
Yeah, we're not gonna plug it. No, in all seriousness, you can check us out at youtubeformen.com or mailpodcast.com.
Awesome, man. Until next time, I will catch you later.
Hey, that's if there is a next time. We'll see after this.
All right.
Here, take care, man.